Picture something as large as an ocean liner, but floating through the sky. These colossal airships, which existed about 80 years ago, offered amenities like piano lounges, dining rooms, and private staterooms, making them an opulent way to travel. Gliding smoothly 200 meters above the ground, they were so stable, you could balance a pencil on its end without it tipping over. There were plans for even larger and more lavish airships, but then tragedy struck. The entire world watched in horror as one burst into flames on camera, leading to the sudden decline of these magnificent flying giants. The Hindenburg, which first took to the skies in 1936, to this day remains the largest flying object ever created. Its sheer size was astonishing. To put it into perspective, imagine an average person standing next to a city bus, then a Boeing 747, and finally, next to the Hindenburg. The airship makes everything else look tiny by comparison. Many are amazed by the Hindenburg's opulent interiors, which aren't obvious from its exterior. Inside, it felt more like a grand ocean liner than an aircraft. Passengers enjoyed meals in a full-service dining room, soaked in panoramic views from promenades, mingled in the piano lounge, or found quiet in the writing room. Downstairs, they could indulge in a cigar in the smoking room or savor a drink at the bar before heading back upstairs to their cozy, private cabins. And all this luxury was experienced while gracefully floating in the sky. There was virtually no mechanical droning, unlike today's jetliners, and the Hindenburg even contained a fully equipped kitchen. In the 1930s, the fastest ocean liners cruised at just 35 miles per hour. The Hindenburg could easily reach speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. A transatlantic journey that would take 5 days by ship could be done in just 2 days aboard the Hindenburg. Unlike ocean liners, airships could fly to inland cities, not just coastal ports. The Hindenburg often flew over Europe to various inland destinations. However, on May 6, 1937, after finishing a transatlantic flight, the Hindenburg was docking in New Jersey when a passing thunderstorm caused its lifting gas to suddenly ignite. It was destroyed within seconds. This wasn't the first or deadliest airship disaster, but it was different because it was first of its kind caught on film. People weren't accustomed to witnessing such events, making the tragedy even more shocking. Many see this as the end of the golden age of airship travel. Public confidence was shattered, and the allure and luxury of airships vanished overnight. Many people ask, did the Hindenburg disaster truly mark the end of giant airships? Well, even though the Hindenburg was colossal, akin to the Titanic in size, one of its major drawbacks was its passenger capacity. This massive flying beast could only carry 72 passengers and required 52 crew members to operate. By comparison, an ocean liner of that era could transport nearly 2,000 passengers and had a crew and staff of over 1,000. The reason these massive airships carried so few passengers is that lifting gases like helium don't provide much lift. Even when the Hindenburg used hydrogen, it could only lift about 100,000 pounds, which is roughly equivalent to the weight of 8 elephants. Consequently, everything on the Hindenburg had to be designed to be as lightweight as possible to keep it airborne. Those passenger compartments? They had claustrophobic bunk beds with very little room. Not overly opulent. Because the doors and walls were constructed of thin, fabric-covered foam, you could hear your neighbor coughing, snoring, or worse. Since the airship's lift capacity was just 100,000 pounds, individual bathrooms were too heavy for all the cabins to have. There was only one shower and one communal bathroom for every 72 passengers. Shared restrooms required passengers to descend a flight of stairs. The shower was hardly more than a trickle because water was rationed. Even the unique lightweight aluminum that was required to build the grand piano was later removed in order to reduce weight. Indeed, these could be considered concessions for being able to float in the air, but the entire experience was incredibly costly. In current currency, a one-way journey on the Hindenburg cost almost $7,000 by today's standards. Sure, an ocean liner was slower, but a first-class cabin on an ocean liner came with a sprawling suite and a private bathroom. The displacement of the then-modern ocean liner allowed for a far more comfortable experience. Ocean liners were more affordable and offered more luxurious accommodations, like giant ballrooms, theaters, and indoor swimming pools. As aircraft were only beginning to make transatlantic journeys by 1937, it was a great time to be a fast runner across the ocean. Airships were becoming outdated by the time the Hindenburg went up in smoke. They were quite costly and couldn't equal the speed and comfort of airplanes or the opulence and comfort of ocean liners. The idea of a large airship is still appealing today, but physics inevitably drags the concept back to Earth, just as it did 8 decades ago.